Hello, I think this is working. I hope this is working and you can all hear me. As I said in my Facebook post, this is my first ever live video and I'm super nervous about it, and I've been putting this off for such a long time. So I've probably been thinking about doing a live video for maybe 2 years, and I've put it off and put it off and put it off because it's scary. I normally do edited videos, so I was kind of worried about whether or not I'd be able to do a live video and stay on track, whether I would ramble a lot and not be able to edit, whether anybody would show up. There's a lot of fear going on and being scared. So I wanted to talk today about how you should be doing the things that you're scared of doing, because those are the things that we grow from and move forward from. So the thing is that all those fears that pop up when we're thinking about something that we would want to do or in the future, and we stop ourselves from doing it and we hold ourselves back because it's scary and we don't want to do it, but we do want to do it. So those things that we hold ourselves back are the things that we really ought to be doing. And the thing is that you never really know what's going to happen unless you actually do it. And it might be brilliant, and none of those things that you're afraid of might come true. But what's the worst that could happen? If you keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, then you're never going to know whether it's going to be amazing or not. And if you have to do those things that you keep thinking about, you keep dreaming about. And for me, this Facebook Live thing is a thing that I just keep thinking about. I want to do it. I see people doing it. I love joining in on live feeds myself and commenting. And I'm always like, oh, I wish I could do that. I wish I could do that, but I can't. And I tell myself this story that I can't do it because X, Y, and Z, because of any excuse under the sun that I can come up with so that I don't have to face the fear that I have inside. But now that I'm here and I'm doing it, it's actually not as scary as I thought it would be. And it's kind of pretty awesome. So you can apply this logic to literally any area of your life. But we hold ourselves back so often. So take that thing that you literally can't stop thinking about, the thing that you wish you could be doing, the thing that you dream about and you keep telling yourself you can't. Go out and do it, because you literally don't know what's going to happen until it's done. So I just completely lost my train of thought, sorry. See, this is not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So when it comes to your business and your career and your life, those goals that you are those things that you really want for yourself, when you are creating your goals, what is the thing that you know would move you forward towards that goal, but you're stopping yourself from doing it? Do you have a business idea that you've been thinking about for weeks, months, years maybe, and you just keep holding off doing it? Maybe now's the time to make it happen. Maybe it is doing video for your business, or being more social, or going to an event and interacting with other business owners who are at a more advanced stage than you are. All of these things can be pretty scary sometimes. When we step outside our comfort zone, our brains tell us, oh, that's going to change things. Don't do that. Change is scary. Change is bad. But change is good. Change will propel you forward one way or another. whether that change works out exactly how you planned or not, you will learn and you'll grow from it, and it will move you forward regardless of whether that's in the way that you were thinking or not. So whether everything goes to plan or not, it doesn't matter, because you still learn from the experience. You can still look back and go, okay, well, what worked, what didn't work? And it will propel you in maybe in a completely different direction that you hadn't even considered before. So you have to find a way to do the things that you're scared of doing. And whether that is by just jumping in and doing it, or whether it's baby stepping yourself there little by little by little, whether it is getting a family member or a friend or a colleague involved to help you along the way, there is always a way to take that fear that you have and to say, okay, do you know what? I am going to do it. I am going to step forward and I'm going to make this happen, no matter how scary it feels. And as soon as you start taking those steps in those directions, you will find that it gets easier and easier and easier. The more you do the scary thing, the more you take those steps outside of your comfort zone, the more you get used to being outside of your comfort zone, and it doesn't feel as bad anymore. So really start challenging yourself every day. Challenge yourself to do one thing every day that feels uncomfortable, and get used to feeling uncomfortable, so that eventually the things that, where you are now, the things that make you feel uncomfortable are just your normal. It's just your everyday normal life that you hop on and you step outside your comfort zone and you do the thing that used to scare you, and it doesn't scare you anymore because you're so used to it. And you step forward and further and further and further along, and soon you're doing these massive things that you could never have dreamed about doing. So make sure that you are constantly challenging yourself. And today it might just be a little tiny thing. It might be picking up the phone and having an uncomfortable conversation with someone. It might be sharing a photo that you wouldn't normally share, or sharing a part of your journey, talking about things that you wouldn't normally talk about, things that take you further and further towards your goal, little by little. Some strategies to take that first step. Start small. You don't have to do all of the things all at once. So break it down into something small and manageable that you can do now, that feels uncomfortable, but not so much so that you're in that place where you're like, I can't do it. So you want the challenges to be doable. So you don't want to jump out of the plane feet first if you're terrified of flying. Perhaps your first step is to take a smaller step. And to have a plan as well. So I have spent all day today worrying about this Facebook Live post because I scheduled it at 2 o'clock this afternoon. But I knew that if I didn't schedule it, I wouldn't show up. So I took that step and made that decision that it was going to happen. I scheduled it and I put it out and told everyone it was happening so that I couldn't back out. And I know that showing up today it's a small step, really. It's nothing major. We're having a chat about me being afraid of doing a Facebook Live while I'm doing a Facebook Live. But ask for that support. Get someone to help you. Get someone to keep you accountable. Did that help, Kim? I hope so. I feel like I'm rambling a little bit, which again was one of my worries, but it's not so bad. So what are the things that you guys are thinking about doing that is going to take you outside of your comfort zone? I know that there's a lot of people here who follow me for health, and I know that I'm transitioning into other stuff at the moment. So perhaps for you it's joining a gym or starting a workout or changing your healthy eating program. That can be a really big deal. Or maybe it is that you want to start a business, or you want to take your business to the next level, or you want to take your career or your relationships to the next level. Anytime we want to change something, it feels like a big deal, even if looking back on it, it isn't. So really think about what you can do, and don't be upset if you screw it up. You know, things go wrong all the time, and it's really no big deal. You'll mess up. We're all human. So, yeah, you just got to do it. Because once you start doing it, once you've done it once, twice, 1,000 times, it really isn't anywhere near as bad as you thought it would be. Awesome. Does anyone have any other questions or comments? Because I feel like I've rambled on for 10 minutes. I hope that's been helpful. How do you deal with the failure? Ooh, good question. It sucks in the moment. That's just the truth of when things don't go to plan. It doesn't feel good to fail. So I think you have to acknowledge that fact, and you have to take the time to feel how that feels when things don't go to plan. And whether that's 10 minutes or it's 10 days, that's fine. But you don't want to stay in that feeling of it sucking. What we want to do is acknowledge the feeling and then start thinking about how we can learn, looking at why it failed. Was it just the wrong idea? Was it the wrong time? Were you talking to the wrong people? So really using that as a learning experience rather than just having a pity party for yourself and feeling bad. So when things don't go to plan, take the time to feel bad about it. That's fine. And then start problem solving. Why didn't it work? What can I do better next time? What can I change in the future? How can I learn from this and move forward the next time? So let's say that you've taken that step outside of your comfort zone and you've done the thing that was terrifying and it was awful and you hated every moment of it and it just didn't work out. There's nothing wrong with that. Things go wrong all the time. And I think you have to think about, what would you say to someone if they were in your position? So if you had a friend who was in your position and they came to you and said, hey, I did this thing and it was really scary and it didn't work out and I'm really upset about it, what would you say to them? You know, you wouldn't be telling them that they were a complete failure and that they should give up. You'd be looking at why. What should you do differently next time? How can you improve? How can you make things different? How can you make sure that the next thing you put out there, the next time you step out of your comfort zone, that you are stepping towards where you want to be? Or perhaps that failure teaches you that the thing that you were doing was not the right thing. And perhaps you need to look in a different direction, and perhaps that one failure will push you closer to the success. Does that help, Kim? I hope so. Because there's really no such thing as failure. It's all just a learning experience. So every time something goes wrong, it's just an opportunity to learn and to grow and to move forward, whether that's in the same direction or in a different direction. You know, if you look at the most successful people, they have had so many failures along the way. There is no person in this world who has had pure success. We all put stuff out there that doesn't work. We all make mistakes. We all, we're all human. So it's just that we only see the success. So when something fails for somebody, we just don't see it. So we are looking on social media and all we see are other people's successes. But we don't see the things that don't work out so well. I think we often focus too much on the worst case situation rather than the positives. Absolutely. And that can be a really good tool to use when you are trying to step out of your comfort zone, is to think, okay, what's my worst case scenario? And then you can turn that into a positive. So you can, when you're worrying about something, you can say to yourself, okay, what is the worst thing that's going to happen? And quite often those worst case scenarios aren't actually that bad. If I've started this Facebook Live and nobody shows up and I'm just talking to myself, well, that's really no different to what I do on a daily basis with my YouTube videos. It's not the end of the world. So we can turn that into a positive thinking, is like, okay, here's my worst case scenario. How am I going to feel when that happens? And what can I do about it if that happens? We're trained to see the negative things. Yes, the human brain is wired to focus on the things that go wrong because that's how we learn. So it's a natural part of our being to focus on the negative things. But you can teach yourself to see a more positive things. Just takes a little bit of practice. So every time you have that negative thought, if you counter it with a positive, you can teach yourself to be more positive more often. And seeing the negative side of things isn't a bad thing either. Like, if you're positive all the time, that wouldn't be the best thing in the world. We have to have that balance, and seeing the negative things stops us from, getting into dangerous situations. So it is an important part of life to focus on the negative. But when we are so connected through social media and all that sort of stuff, we see everyone else's perfect life, and that makes us focus in on the negative in ours because we're not living the same way. So we can teach ourselves to focus on our positives and focus on what we're really great at, and learn to see the awesome in our own lives, even when things don't go to plan. And often the best memories that we make are when things don't 100% go to plan. It's our system. It won't work so good if we see the positive side. If this happens, we'll be in freedom within our comfort zone. Not entirely sure I understand. Can you elaborate a little bit for me? And again, you don't want to be that one-dimensional person who is only happy all the time, because that's not truth either. But learning to focus on the positive side while balancing that with your worst case scenario really helps to help you take that step outside of your comfort zone. So when you can see both sides and you're not purely focused on the fear and the negatives and what could go wrong, and you can see the positives that it might take you closer and closer and closer to your goal, when you can see both, you have a much better perspective. But you have to train yourself to be able to see both. Failures can be learning steps to success. Like a baby learning to walk will stumble a dozen times, but they keep trying. Yes, exactly. I guess when we get older, we're so concerned with stumbling that we forget that the success can come from the constant tries of we don't focus on the failures. Yeah, absolutely. So you see kids, when they can't get something right, they just keep trying. When a baby's learning to walk, they fall over, they get back up, they fall over, they get back up. But I think we get to a point once we've left school that we've kind of forgotten that we don't keep trying anymore, and we go, oh, well, that didn't work. But again, it's a practice. You know, you always have that choice. You can choose to quit, or you can choose to try again and learn from the mistakes. And we all have that choice. And it's about remembering that we have that choice and getting up and trying again, whether it's the same thing in a different way or whether it's something completely different. And I think we worry a lot about what other people think, when it's really, other people don't think as much as you think they will. I think we worry a lot about looking silly, or, you know, what will people think of me if I fail? But actually, most people are so consumed with their own worries and worrying about their own failures that they don't really notice yours. So that shouldn't stop you. It doesn't mean it's not something that's going to keep coming up for you. It's definitely something that I've worried about. But again, we can choose to ignore what we perceive that other people will think, because most people are going to be super supportive. And most people are going to want you to achieve your goals and your dreams and get to where you want to be. And if they don't support you, then they're probably not worth having in your life anyway. So awesome. So what are you guys feeling like? What are your goals that you're afraid of doing? What's holding you back? Let me know. Because I think also if you put it out there, once people know about it, it kind of gives you that little bit of accountability to help you to get to where you want to be. It doesn't work for everybody, but definitely putting that intention out there into the world is a good thing, I think. Saying this is what I want and this is what I'm going for and this is what I need to get there. Alrighty, any other questions, comments, anything else you want to say? If not, I think I'm going to head off because I've rambled on for 20 minutes. I hope this has been really helpful. I would love to hear how you are stepping out of your comfort zone on a daily basis, whether it's a little baby step or a huge leap. And just remember that once you've done it, it's really not as scary as you think it's going to be. And whether it works out exactly how you planned or not, it's going to get you, it's going to help to change your life in one way or another. Whether it's a little tiny change or a huge change, it will make a difference. You'll learn from it, you'll grow from it, or you'll take a huge step towards your goals. And that's a good thing. All right, guys, well, thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate it. I hope this has been helpful. Please feel free to share, and I will see you again soon. I am going to be doing more of these now that I've got the first one out of the way. So let me know your questions and things you would like me to talk about, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great evening. Bye.